and welcome to today's call. And just give me a minute here while we connect. So hopefully you can see me now. I believe we are live. So welcome everyone. If you made it live, that's absolutely awesome. Wherever you are, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I'm really privileged to have Valerie on the call this evening, all the way from the Philippines, I believe.
Yes, Manila.
Manila, nice one, good. And you know, we get guests from all around the world. We've had lots of places in Europe and lots of places in the US, but we've never had anyone from the Philippines yet. So that's a first. So it's awesome to have you here. And we're going to be talking about driving traffic and building businesses, but Valerie's expertise is doing this without massive budgets, because anyone who's got $1 million from venture capital, you know, they can just go in and put $1 million on paid ads, and that's really simple. Well, to a degree. I mean, it's not that simple, but it's not that hard. But where it gets really interesting is when you haven't got the big budgets, like the majority of us. And this is Valerie's expertise. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, is how to start your business from a standstill position. And I'm really excited. So Valerie, over to you. Just before we start, let me, I'm going to see if I can actually see ourselves live in the group, hopefully. Yeah, and I can. I'm just going to turn myself down, and yeah, we are live. So that's awesome. That's that part of it worked. So, so we're on to a good start. Okay.
It's called 12 minutes.
So tell me about yourself then, Valerie. What's your background?
Okay, so I actually started this business last year, right at the start of the pandemic. In the Philippines, we got the lockdown started around March. And then when that happened, I was actually a chief marketing officer last year in a real estate company here in the Philippines. But along with 5 million other Filipinos and many, many others around the world, I lost that job because I was new. I was new in that company. And that incident, okay, so I actually treated that rejection as a redirection. And when you're forced out of a job, you know, you think about, especially in the pandemic, you think about, you get scared. You think about what's going to happen in the future. What if somebody in the family gets sick? You know, you need to save money. Will I ever get a job again? Etc. etc. And so, long story short, I combined my neuro-linguistic programming certification plus my advertising and marketing, as well as my experience as a co-founder of an e-commerce site. So I combined them all together and came up with a method, a digital strategy that I call brain science selling. And coming from a loss, you know, because I wasn't sure if I was going to get a job, I wanted to make sure that I don't spend a lot. You know, I don't spend, because it was at that point where there was so much uncertainty. You don't want to spend. And that's how I forced myself to start this business close to nothing. Like with just, as I said, my background, my expertise, just me and my time, basically. That's how I started. And then I realized that actually also came from my first business when we started that e-commerce site, because I know it because I came from that other industry where we don't have the budget. So we were forced to learn even graphic design on our own. You know, Canva is a lifesaver. That's one thing. That's one way to bootstrap your business. I had to learn. YouTube is a gold mine. It's a treasure of all of these information. And so all of these, you know, coming from that perspective of a new entrepreneur without the budget, without all of these, the money, and in the middle of a pandemic with a lot of uncertainty, that's what I started teaching other people. Like you don't have to spend a lot, because look at me. We were chatting yesterday, and here in the Philippines, the value of a 5 or a 6 figure business is huge. And that's what I was able to get even from bootstrapping.
Nice one.
So I
Okay.
want to share, and I want to share to as many as possible the strategies and the tactics that I use, because I know that it's gonna help a lot of people.
Absolutely. So I guess there is 2 parts to that. The first one is to get your company set up, which is, as you mentioned, the Canva, getting the marketing together, and maybe so just getting things done.
Mhm.
The other thing is to generate traffic, isn't it? Which
Yes.
is really where a lot of people struggle with traffic. I mean, I think to be honest, they struggle with both. They struggle with getting stuff done, and it's good to have a kind of know where to go, like almost like a resource to go to places where you don't have to pay for everything, and also how to drive traffic without having to invest in ads, like maybe like some cheap ads, but
Mhm.
not to invest a huge amount of money in ads. That's the knack, really, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna share one of the. Well, I actually prepared 4 or 5, depending on where our audience is in their journey, in
Oh, nice.
where they are in their business, whether they're still thinking of building one, starting one. Number one that really worked for me as a coach and as a trainer is first to work with teams. Okay, first is to work with teams. Why is that? Because you're leveraging their network.
Sorry, who's this to work with?
Teams. So instead of individuals, because
Oh,
when we start with our business, sometimes we start with one-on-one selling.
yeah.
For coaching, even for when you look for clients, you look for individuals for your clients. I did not look for individuals. I looked for teams.
Oh, nice. Okay, that's
So
interesting
that's an
because
immediate multiplier. That's an immediate
oh,
multiplier. So for example, okay, I don't know if you have network groups like BNI or the Rotaries, the Lions clubs,
oh,
the
like
organizations, the associations. So I actually offered in the beginning free sessions, like 30 minutes of training, 30 minutes of talks. And that's how I was able to immediately build my network. That's
right.
immediate and that's multiplied. So that's one. I spoke with organizations of jewelry makers, artisans, because that's my other business is an e-commerce site with locally made products. I also talk to insurance groups, brokerage. Again, immediately that's a multiplier.
Oh,
You
that's
know,
really interesting. Yeah.
yes, and then so you talk to the boss because they're teams, and then eventually, so since these are either they're sellers, meaning they're part of a team, or they are organizations of businesses. So if it's an organization of businesses, each of the participants now come to me and say, "Can you teach my team? Can you train my team?" If
Oh,
they are individuals, so if they are part of a sales team, for example, the individuals will now actually started following me on Facebook and asking me for like digital courses. Because I didn't have a digital course in the beginning. It was just all live trainings in the beginning. And so when they were asking me, I'm like, Miss Val, that's how what they call me. I want to review the trainings that you give us, but I didn't have a recording. So I'm like, that's a very good insight. No, again expanded my business into something, a new revenue stream, because I realized that there was a need for digital courses, something that people can review, because they wanted to learn from me. So that's the magic of working with teams. Another one is when these people, the people in the sales teams, when they get promoted, when they got promoted last year, they got me again, this time to help with their own team.
Right.
So in a span of a year, I was able to grow my network. This is the people that I've taught, the people that I've helped, 4,000 to 5,000 that I can count.
Wow, that's
That I
insane.
can, yes, that I can count. That doesn't include all the Facebook lives that I've done, or things like this, all the podcasts, etc. That doesn't include. Those are really the people who attended my Zoom classes. So that's one. And when you have all of these people following you, that's when I started my business page. So I did the trainings, I did the service first, even before I went social media, because they were asking me for follow-ups, like how can I get in touch with you, how can we learn more from you, etc. So when I opened, or when I created my social media account, my Facebook, the business page itself, it's like an immediate community.
Right.
I didn't even have to look for them, or get or buy ads so that they will follow me. I don't also like growing through ads, because there's no relation. The people following me on social media, I know them. Like one way or another, they've attended one of my trainings. So that's one. Okay, that's immediate multiplier, and then immediate traffic. So working with teams. And then number two is when you're starting, or still thinking about starting a business, we all have Facebook. I don't know like how many billions of people right now, 6 billion maybe, and counting, people have Facebook. So that's something that we already have. We spend 9 hours and 45 minutes, at least Filipinos. This was from last year's research. So 9 hours and 45 minutes on Facebook. That's more than the time that you spend in an actual real job, because you're only paid 8 hours.
This is in a day?
Yes, per day.
Oh, that's insane.
So 9 hours and 45 minutes on Facebook. And since we're already there, you just have to monetize. And how do you monetize? First of all, you have to understand how it works. So what's your biggest real estate on your Facebook page, for example? That's actually your cover photo.
Right.
Right? That's your biggest real estate. And normally our cover photos is just a logo, or a photo of us, or some travel photo if you don't have a business page yet, why not use that to actually say something? Number one is, how do you help people? What is it exactly that you do? So it's already there. Even before people click on your news feed, on your actual profile, it's already there. Make it as easy as possible for people to find you, and for people to find out how to work for you. So that's one. The cover photo is essential. And another thing that you can use it for is when you eventually decide, again, depending on where you are in your journey, when you eventually decide to have freebies, downloadables, put it immediately on your cover page. So say my cover page in my Facebook group is the anatomy of Facebook, because it's people still don't know, some people still don't know, and then the caption will just say download here, and that's your lead generation. Your biggest real estate is your lead generation material, which again doesn't cost anything. it's all for free, and immediately you can get emails, you can get conversations and engagement with people, because it's a freebie. People love freebies.
Yeah.
So that's your cover page. This is optimization. And then this is something that I learned, with social media. Our about page, the about description, we usually say something about us. It just says about, right? It just says about. So initially I said, I'm a trainer, I'm a neuro-linguistic programming practitioner, but then I changed it to, what do I do? Who do I help? So I put, it's about people that I help. Because when you start a business, when you are looking for people to you said business opportunity seekers, it is really not just about starting a business. It is about finding, why do you start a business? You start a business because you want to solve a problem. You are there to help a certain group of people. So that's what you put in your about page. Who are they? What do you do for them? How can you help them with? So that's one thing that, again, it's free, but that changes people's perception of you, because they place you now as somebody who can help them, and not just somebody who is trying to sell their products or, really push the sale. So the first one, let's just review. So the first one is working with teams. The second one is the smart use of your Facebook without spending anything. Now, if you're ready, last year when I started this, even if I knew how to, I actually taught people how to do targeting, ads, etc. I didn't want to use it myself because, again, my thing was bootstrapping. But if you have a little bit of a budget, I don't know if like our audience with awareness, consideration, and conversion parts of Facebook, right? The campaigns. So the campaign objectives. Usually we start with awareness, brand awareness. It's like confetti flyering. In the real world, pre-pandemic, you give out flyers to everyone, to anyone, everyone, which is good for awareness. But what I did, so this is how I made it work for me, which is actually very good for you, because we are on video right now, is videos. I use the video strategy. When you sell on Facebook or when you sell on any social media site, people don't immediately buy from you. It is they have to see you between 7 to 12 times before they even trust you with their money. That's why retargeting is important. But when you use videos for your ads, it goes down to 5. Okay, so because people will realize you are not a robot. You're a real person, somebody that they can talk to, somebody that they can trust. So instead of 7 to 10 times, which means you have to spend 7 to 12 times, you now only spend 5 times when you use video as content for your ads. So that's one. And then with videos, there's an insight. You can actually check your videos, how long people watched it. So they will, you will see 3 seconds, you will see a playthrough, which is 15 seconds onwards. And the thing about that is when they see 15 seconds, when you see 15 seconds onwards, you can use that as a retargeting again, because the people who watched it for 15 seconds or more means they are more ready, they are warmer. So you don't have to spend a lot of money on them again.
Yeah, they're ready.
Because they're ready, they're primed, they watched your video already. So that's a strategy. That's how I spent my money. It's really the brand awareness and the video views. That's how, because I spent $309. That's how much I spent in a year in Facebook ads.
That's nothing.
Okay, that's like what? I mean, I don't know the equivalent for you, but that's really cheap.
It's about
here.
$30 a month. It's nothing. It's like $1 a day, right? It's less than $1 a day.
Yes,
I think anyone watching this can afford $1 a day, right? So
yes.
yeah.
It's $1 a day. So that's $309 for a combination of brand awareness and video views. Another one where you can use Facebook, which again it's accessible for us, is the use of videos, meaning live, like this,
Yeah.
the Facebook Live, because Facebook prioritizes videos as far as content goes. They
Yeah.
love it when people go live and they push it some more. It reboots or restarts or jump starts the algorithm. You will see that when people follow you and then you go live, they will get notifications, right? So that's without even spending an ad for them to see that.
Yeah.
Because Facebook pushes it. Facebook pushes that content. So when you go live, that's free. That's free advertising already, without spending, without triggering anything. And what I did was, this was in January of this year. So I started my business in April 23 of last year. So January of this year, I did a challenge. I challenged myself to go live every day for 30 days.
Wow, okay.
But it's just, shorties. So, hi, I just want to tell you this, or sometimes I'm prepared, sometimes I'm not. I just really challenged myself to go live. That jump started. So that gave people an opportunity to engage, and that gave Facebook, to opportunity to also showcase my page, even without me spending any continuous engagement. So, and
Do you do it on a page or in a group?
on a page.
Right. Okay. Oh, because you need to be buying the ads from the page.
Yes. And then when I have Facebook lives that appear to be more popular, I push it by boosting.
Yes.
Just a little bit of a boosting, because people are interested anyway. So that gives me an insight. Okay, this is the topic that they like. This is something that they resonate with, and then I'm gonna push it to more people. But I'm not saying like a lot of money, $2, $3, $4 only for just to boost it. And for more people to see the content. So video views, and when they watch it, I am able to retarget them.
Right.
So that's the strategy. So you make people, and people now started putting me as an expert, because I have things to say about certain subjects. And then they ask me, questions. When they ask me questions, I gather them all together, I collate them, and that becomes material for my next course or for my next module, because I know that people need to know about those things. So they ask me about LinkedIn. Okay, you ask me about Instagram. Okay, so I'm now going to create material modules about LinkedIn and Instagram, but still using my method of brain science selling, or even copywriting. One of my best selling courses, live and the digital course, is NLP, or Neuro Linguistic Programming and Copywriting, because people asked me for it. They asked me for it. So again, when I launched my digital course, I didn't even spend for ads, because I had ready buyers. They asked me for it. So when I launched it, okay, there's already a wait list of people wanting to get that. It's in NLP, or in neuro-linguistic programming, we call it priming. So it's really preparing your customers' brains to accept the offer. You don't just come on Facebook and say, here's my offer, without even priming or preparing their brains to accept it. So that's the third. Videos, a lot of videos, a lot of showing yourself. And then number 4 is the power of social proof.
Yes.
The power of social proof. Back in 2012, last year, you remember when we all started going on Zoom. So everything was virtual. And instead of selfies, we had Zoom fees. If you remember that time, 3 or 6 months, we were, taking photos of our Zoom, screenshots of our meetings, gatherings, whatever. I leverage that. You can actually, again, the power of leverage and the power of a multiplier. What did I do? My former industry was real estate. So I was CMO, I was chief marketing officer of a real estate company. So I had a lot of sellers, a lot of brokers, insurance, maybe people in the banks, in my immediate community. This was before I did the page. This was in my personal profile. So what did I do to use social proof? I posted Zoom fees. Okay, nice. I posted Zoom fees and I tagged them. So by tagging them, that shows to their network. So it's a multiplier. If they have 1,000 friends or 2,000 friends, 500 friends, that photo will now be shown to their friends.
Right.
And then I just have to make sure that they really have a good experience. They will comment. Usually they comment. So when they comment, it shows again on their page. So it pushes the content again and gives it more engagement. So that's another use for it. And then the third is, I know it's knowing the industry that you want to target. I knew that the real estate industry is very competitive. So again, it goes back to understanding your clients. I knew that they were competitive and that I knew that when they see that other team doing my training, they will think, what's that training about? How come I'm not there? They will investigate. And that's how I was able to put my name also out there with the different real estate brokers and groups, because they were curious about me. Why is this group using her? She's a nobody. I started from zero. I wasn't a trainer. I wasn't a coach. I was in marketing, but I had that working for me, the part of my reputation. But as a trainer, I was a nobody. But that strategy, because they were competitive, they would see my name, see my courses without me having to spend nothing. And that with that social proof comes the like and the trust, because this other team already trusted me. This other team already paid me money. This other team already, is learning something from me. And when you say brain science selling, it's so new. It's such a new concept of understanding how your clients' brains work and using that to your advantage. Using persuasion words, using rapport, using priming, etc. And they wanted to, they didn't want to be left behind. They didn't want to be left behind. And true enough, I would get random messages from people I don't know because they were referred to me by people who I tagged in the photos.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's the fourth. It's really the power of social proof. And just this year, so at the tail end of my first year in business, I what do you call this? I made it a goal to become more visible. And then this is still me being here and sharing with everybody. It's still part of that goal. I decided to become more visible. But again, I didn't have the budget. Well, I had budget, but I didn't want to spend it because that's how you grow a business. Profit is still very important. What did I do? If anyone out here listening or watching and you already have a business and thinking of going, getting more PR, getting more visibility, getting more authority, I have two tips for you. Okay, if you are on Twitter, and I suggest, this is how I use my Twitter. So we have different social media platforms. I use them in different ways. Twitter, I use to get media. So when you use the hashtag journal request, so hashtag journal request on Twitter, you will see journalists looking for sources, looking for people to interview, looking for materials for their next article. And you just have to be patient, because when I did this, it was 2 months, no, what, just a month of every day when I wake up, because it's, our time is reversed. So you are ending your day, I'm starting my day. So at the end of the day in the US, I will be getting all of the journal requests from the previous day as soon as I wake up. So I check my Twitter, and then when I see something that is related to me, related to my business, about digital marketing, about neuro-linguistic programming, I would apply. So I would reply to the tweet of the journal request. Sometimes they give their email address, sometimes they don't. So I will just you just subscribe, because you get notifications anyway when you subscribe to that hashtag, the journal request. And that has given me, a lot of visibility. So PR. Another one is the Twitter name is called Help a Reporter Out.
Yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
Yeah, so Help a Reporter Out and Source Bottle. So if you want to target, Source Bottle is more for I think Australia and Asia. So depending on where you want, Help a Reporter Out is US and Europe. Australia is Source Bottle. I was able to get a TV interview for free.
Nice one.
Again, that helped boost my visibility, my authority, the business, and showing it to more people. And even in my own network, because I was already on TV, because they would see me in articles, because they would see me in publications, I was able to increase my prices even within the year.
The people from Help a Reporter Out, do they have a minimum requirement as to how many viewers are on the page or something? I think I back in the day I applied to them, but they wanted to see that you have like maybe 10,000 views or something.
No.
So
no.
anyone can do that.
Anyone. Because Help
okay.
a Reporter Out, it's the same as Journal Request, except it's a platform. It's an actual Twitter account. And when you subscribe to Help a Reporter Out, which I did, I receive 3 emails a day from Help a Reporter Out, or Haro. So that's
Haro,
Haro. So I receive morning, afternoon, and evening. Again, you have to be, how do I say, persistent about this. You read, and then you apply immediately. I apply within the day, because these reporters get hundreds of responses. So you have to be fast about it. Because if not, and that happens to me too. Sometimes I forget, or sometimes I'm just too busy to reply. Once I reply, the application is already closed, because they were already able to get, this much, 100 responses within the time period. And that's been helping me. I started the Haro and the visibility project in March, and I have had a lot. I can't count, maybe around 30 publications that featured me. There's industry leaders. I was able to write an article about NLP and about brain science selling. Why did I do that? Why did I do this visibility challenge for myself? Because I am now, when you Google my name, I'm now number 1 without spending.
That's amazing.
Without spending. And my name, Valerie Fisher, you will see there's even an actress
Right.
with my name, an actress, a volleyball player, an insurer, an real estate agent. So many people with my, it's a common name, you know, in the US, but here in the Philippines, it's just me. But I was able to be number one, and 80% of the first page is me.
Yeah, oh, that's incredible. And so the kind of the undercurrent of this is the fact that you are also a very hard worker. Like, for example, at the moment it's midnight, isn't it? It's depends
Yes.
where you are. It's nearly 1 o'clock, right, in the morning.
Yes.
So you do put yourself out. I mean, you know, if anyone wants to interview you or anyone wants to speak to you, you just go out live, speak to them, and
Yes.
that's one of the things that people have to do. They have to understand that, you know, life is competitive.
Mhm.
You do get a lot of people who just expect success just to land in their lap, but
Yes. There's two things, you know, money is currency, but so is time.
yes,
Time is also currency. So if you don't have the money, you better have the time, or you
yeah,
better make time.
yeah, exactly.
You better make time. So if you want to bootstrap, if you want to get, you know, a lot of traffic to your site, a lot of traffic to your page, if you want to get leads, if you want to get clients, there are ways, multiple, many ways that you can use this without spending money. What you spend is time.
Yeah, and also the other thing is you get people who they just don't want to show their face on
That's
camera,
another thing.
and it kind of makes you wonder. I mean, everyone's got an excuse, you know, they don't like the way they sound, they don't like the way they look, but I mean, ultimately, you know, life is short. I mean, you know, the people are just so worried about what everyone's going to be thinking. But really,
Mhm.
what I would say is just don't worry about that, you know, because we're all unique. You know, we're
Mhm.
all unique. We all have our good points and bad points, but as long as we have something to say, people are going to be interested in what we have to say. And the way to have something to say is to know your industry, take a real interest in it, really be passionate about what you do. And then people are going to want to listen to you. And it doesn't matter what you look like or what you sound like. Just go out there and speak to people and do it on camera. And the best way is to do
Mhm.
it live on camera if you can. And even if you can't, just do it until you can, because even if you're not great in the beginning, it will become
Yeah.
second nature, right? You know, the more you do it.
Practice. That's why you need the brains, you know, we thrive on repetition. The more that we do it, the more that it becomes comfortable, that the more that we get better at it. Like I'm not saying that I don't have insecurities. Like my eyebrows are not, you know, the same. And I see that every time I go live. I see that every time I go on interview. So you know, what can I do about it? The most I can do is just learn how to do better makeup, but you know, there's nothing can change that. And
Yeah,
another thing is, if you're not comfortable, like I wear my glasses.
yeah,
If you know, if I can't fix that properly, I just wear my glasses to kind of hide it, you know. But you have to, in this day and age, if you want people to trust you, if you want them to know you, like you, and to trust you, you have to show yourself, be vulnerable, and really show your authentic self. In this day and age where even copy can be written by AI,
yeah.
by robots, by algorithms, they need to speak to a real person. They need to know you, and be you know, attracted to your values. They have to
Yes.
resonate with your uh, purpose. You have to really put yourself out there.
That's so true. That's really, really true. Excellent. So I'm going to recap on the four tenets. So it was teams. So to leverage. It's interesting because at the moment I'm doing a lot of one-to-one through LinkedIn. You know, but maybe this is something to look at, is to not to just do one-to-one, but look at who is the head of the pack, maybe the head of the
Yes.
group or the admin, and
Yes.
speak to them, and maybe you can do a deal with them, you know, like some sort of a JV. So go with teams, and then it was to leverage your social. So you mentioned Facebook, but I would maybe add maybe more than Facebook. If you're strong on LinkedIn or you're strong on Instagram, but whatever it is, make sure that your bio and your real estate is optimized.
Yes.
The third thing was video, just the power of video, ideally live, but even if it's not live, even if you do it recorded, I think people can still get a really good sense of who you are, because they can really look you in the eye and they can get a feel for who you are. And the fourth one was to sort of put yourself out there,
Social
wasn't it?
proof. The social proof.
Social proof.
Yes.
Indeed. Nice
Because
one.
social proof really is, testimonials, but you don't get social proof when you're starting, because
Yes.
they don't, you don't get that yet. So the closest you can do are comments on photos that you tag people with.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So you tag people. So you, like, for example, I'm going to be tagging you on this.
Yes.
So, okay. So when you do an interview, or when you mention someone, or when you, I guess when you refer to someone, like, for example, this is what, even when you share someone's content, which you
Yes.
can do on
Yes.
Instagram and Pinterest, you're encouraged to repin, right, and regram. You just tag that person, and then what you do, your profile will be seen on their timeline. Is that
Yes.
the way it works? Okay.
Yeah.
So find ways to be able to tag people without being intrusive, without being, without being a pain. You're just going to do it in a nice, giving sort of way. Okay, nice one. Yeah, I like that. That's really impressive, and I'm really inspired by what you said. So let's see if we have any questions. I don't know. I can't really see if there's any comments or anything, but if not, then I can see we've got a few likes and so on. We have sort of people watching. Some people are always a bit shy about sort of coming out with any comments, or sometimes I just miss the comments with this system. So if I did, then forgive me. I didn't mean to miss your comments, but what I'll do, Valerie, is I will tag you on this, so that if people want to get in touch with you, and I'm sure they would, they know where to find you. I think you have a lot of value to give. And so if anyone wants to start their business on a shoestring, but bootstrapping, as you call it, without massive ad spend, then they will know where to find you.
Yes.
What other than this, I mean, if anyone wants to learn more about you and get in touch, what's the best way to do this?
I have a website. It's www.valeriefischer, FISCHER.net. I just revised it. all of my media is there. The different ways to work with me. I have digital courses. I have trainings for teams. I just started doing one-on-ones, and I also have small groups between 5 to 6 people. So there's many different ways, and you will see that on my website. I think that's the best way. I'm also on Facebook, of course. I have my page. So my page is Valerie Fischer. The same with LinkedIn, the same with Instagram. I'm even on TikTok.
Oh, oh wow! So how is TikTok? How's TikTok going for you? Because I
love it.
struggle with that.
I don't use it to grow. I mean, I don't intentionally grow my TikTok, but again, it's the video content of it.
Yeah. So TikTok has to be very punchy, right? Like very short and punchy.
Yes. Yeah. I love it. It's
You
fun.
do? Oh, really? Interesting. And I guess the other thing I didn't mention is just enjoy what you're doing. I mean, you seem to be really enjoying it. And I think that's a tip that I would give to anyone, is just find something that you love doing and, just immerse yourself in it, because you're probably already immersing yourself in it anyway, because you love doing it. So it means you're doing it in your spare time, probably, or even in your day jobs. Just find a skill, something that you love doing, and then just put the word out there. Just get people to listen to you, and then the rest falls into place, doesn't it? But people are obsessed about, am I going to make money from this? Am I not going to make money from this? But the thing is, if you love doing something and you just speak to the world, and it's never been easier than it is today to put yourself out there to speak to people about it. If you just do it, you will definitely get a following, and then making money from that just becomes like something you don't even need to think about. People are going to buy into you. So start a training program, or maybe promote an affiliate offer that you feel really comfortable with. Don't be obsessed about how do I make money from it. Just do what you love, put yourself out there, and the rest is going to fall into place.
Yes, I would also add, maybe just as a last, last word, is when you think about selling, and the root word I found somewhere, I don't know exactly where now, but the root word, old English word for sales, is sale, which means to serve.
Right.
And
Yes.
so selling is actually serving. You always have to think about what it is that you are going to help that person with. And the money will come. Believe me, the money will come as long as you have that service oriented mindset.
That's a really good thing to finish with. So thank you very much. I feel humbled to have you on the call today.
Thank you
And
so much for having me.
take care now. You have a great evening, and hope to speak soon.
Yes, bye.
Bye bye.
Thanks.
Take care.